Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's The Beautiful Bag podcast. I have a very special guest with me today, Angie Davenport. She is amazing. We have connected on social media through Facebook, I believe, right?
Yes.
Through Facebook, and some Facebook groups that we were in and some people that we're just connected with through the community. So, Angie, thank you so much for being here with me today.
No, you're welcome, LeeAnne. I'm honored to be a part of your podcast.
It's absolutely amazing, and I am so grateful that you want to share your story. And I mean, we chatted a little bit yesterday. So you've had your ostomy for 39 years now. You said, right?
Yes, 39 years in March.
That's crazy. Well, congratulations. So
Thank you.
We've got a lot to talk about because 39
Yes.
years is a lot of things, ups and downs and obstacles and all that other fun stuff.
A lot, yes.
And it was pre-social media, so it wasn't like we had like running to social media to say hashtag ostomy. Who else is out there?
Right. There was no support. Well, there was ostomy associations, but a lot of them were the elderly, and it's nothing like it is in society today. I think social media is just amazing, helping everyone connect with each other and finding that support and inspiration, and just the sharing of experiences is amazing.
I have to agree. It has kept me up. It has boosted myself, and I know it's boosted a lot of people around us. Now, you said something very keen there, because again, you've had yours for 39 years, and I want to get into, how and why, what happened and brought it on to you. But you said something key where it was, there was ostomy associations, but it was all elderly people. And now having social media, we're seeing how many young people.
Yes.
All right.
I'm actually 62.
Wow. I want to get that, guys. If you could see her video, maybe I'll be snapping pictures later.
Okay. Yes.
But
yes.
No way.
Yes. I'm actually 62, and I was in my 20s when I had my ostomy surgery, and it was just so devastating trying to find support. I did connect with a ostomy association in Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta for a few years after I had my surgery. And I remember my first visit there was, I walked in, I sat down, and I rushed out crying because everyone was elderly. And I was like, I just can't do this. And one of the ladies ran after me and stopped me. And she said, "We have a database. Let me see if I can find someone. Please come back." And I did agree to come back. And I went to the next meeting, and I connected with a friend. She lived not too far from me in Atlanta. And as long as I lived in Atlanta, we did a lot of things together. And I did go to my first conference in Atlanta. And that had to be years and years ago. That was years and years ago. So yes. And then, when I moved back to Ohio, I tried visiting different ostomy groups, but a lot of them were elderly. So I have a huge gap of doing nothing. Just personal friends, different ones would find out I had an ostomy, and I would just try to, consult individuals. My doctor would refer me to some patients to kind of help them and show them some things. But I'm amazed at what's available now through social media. So yes.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And I love that you shared all that. So how was that? I mean, so let's take a step back. What brought on you being in your early 20s and all of a sudden happened to be in an ostomy? Was it Crohn's and colitis, or was it cancer? I mean, I don't even know if Crohn's and colitis was really known back.
Yes, it was ulcerative colitis. Actually, I was pregnant, and I thought it was hemorrhoids, and they started doing different tests, and it was the beginning stages of ulcerative colitis. And throughout my pregnancy, I was on prednisone, dealing with the colitis and just being worried, about my baby. And finally, I had a really, really bad episode, and they had to induce labor. And my son was born a few weeks early due to the colitis flaring up. And then after, my child was born, they were able to get it under control.
Wow. Well, all right.
Yes.
That's a first on the podcast. That's a first. So they found it while you were pregnant.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so from there, so you have your son,
Yes.
your beautiful son. And so tell us what happened after that. So they got it under control, but then did you have more flares?
They got it under control, and I was a single mom. I decided to move to Atlanta just to kind of get my life started over again. And so I ended up having some more episodes while in Atlanta. And I came across a wonderful doctor, Dr. Gary Richter. I said I was going to try to find him all these years later, but he was awesome. He got it back under control. And then I'll never forget the one day I ate some pizza and I ended up in the emergency room. And when he came to visit me, he said, "You need to be in the hospital." And I said, "I can't. I have my baby." He wasn't even a year old. So I was on the next flight. He talked to my doctor in Ohio. They communicated, and I went straight to the hospital, straight to a room. And during that time is when I ended up getting my ostomy.
Wow. Wow. And did they say, how did they prep you for that?
Actually, I really don't even remember discussing the ostomy, although later on the nurses told me they did talk to me about it. I guess my condition really worsened. I was in the hospital for a month, and I never forget the one day my doctor came in and they only gave me 24 hours to live. And they said, "If we don't do surgery in 24 hours, you will not make it." So my mom called all my family in. I remember them. And I remember just constantly being in a lot of pain and being sedated a lot. And I did not realize I had an ostomy until I woke up the next day in ICU. And I'm like, okay, what is this?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then what did you do? I mean,
Well,
your choice was, I'm not going to be here. But then you woke up in an ostomy, you're like, okay, I'm here.
Mm-hmm. And it was really, really emotionally devastating for me also because my baby turned 1 on March 7th and I had that surgery on March 6th. So I was not able to be with my baby for his first birthday. So, being in ICU, I was still medicated a lot and they would come in and check it and change it. And it wasn't until after I got out of ICU where I really had to interact with the nurses and they started explaining it to me. And I had never really heard of an ostomy or seen one or was knowledgeable about anything like that. And so once they started, I was very afraid to touch it, and it mentally, I think mentally more so than physically, it was devastating, being in my 20s, trying to learn how to deal with this. And I never forget where the doctor said, "This is something permanent." And that put me into a little deeper depression because the ostomy nurses were saying, well, maybe it can be reversed. So I had that in the back of my mind that one day maybe it can be reversed. And it was not able to be reversed. And so I was in the hospital for a month. I went home and I had supportive family to help me change it. And then once I got better, I went back to Atlanta. And that's when my physician in Atlanta suggested that I participate with the Ostomy Association to find some other support. And once I joined, and Gail and we took visitor training class, and we would go to the hospital and visit other patients. And it was really, really nice being with other ostomates. But once I moved back to Ohio and got married, I was single at the time when I had my ostomy. I'm now married. I've been married, it'll be 36 years in November.
Wow.
So that's something I try to really encourage to other ostomates. You can find true love. You can find someone that will accept you and love you for who you are, not what's wrong with your physical body. And so that was something that, I would read some of the post on Facebook, nobody will ever want me. I heard those words before, but my husband and I will be celebrating 36 years in November.
Well, congratulations to that.
Thank you.
That is an amazing achievement. And like you said, that is something that goes through people's minds a lot, especially people that are young and single.
Yes.
I mean, and even being, I had mine when I was married, and I looked at my husband and said, "This is what you signed up for. You got this, and this is it. We got to do this together." But to be young and single, and trying to figure out the whole dating game and meeting someone. I mean, how was that for you with your husband when you met?
Well, actually, my husband and I, we kind of were really kicked it around, a little bit in high school. I say high school sweethearts because we ended up being sweethearts. He had someone else, I had someone else, but we still kind of, connected. And I think it was that initial love that really brought us back together after all these years. And I have an amazing husband. He's very, very supportive.
That just makes my heart full. Makes my heart full. That's that's so amazing and so awesome. So, and I do love how you said, there are people out there, and you're helping them say, hey, listen, you can have love, you can find love. People are going to love you, and your ostomy is not going to dictate.
Right.
Not, dictate that. Right.
Yes.
And celebrating 36 years. I hope you all are listening to this. 36 years married.
36 years married. Yes.
That's a long time. And it's
and 39 years with my ostomy. So.
Exactly. So now so mentally to get through it, it was finding the support group, finding some other people that were, your age, and doing some things that support other ostomates. Was that what really helped you mentally get through those first?
Yes. Those were some things that really helped me. But surprisingly, I did not go public with my ostomy until last year in August 2020. I did a live Facebook Live, and I did a video. It's called Feeling Free. It's on YouTube. I'm feeling free with my ostomy. And that was the first time I really went public. Although I joined, several ostomy groups, which are private because everyone is affiliated with an ostomy or caregiver or knows someone. And so I was like, I think I want to go public with this. And Geraldine Taylor, she's my mentor, my inspiration, my coach, my everything in the ostomy world. And she's like, you'll know when it's time. So she really assisted me, and encouraged me. And it was awesome. The videos are out there on Facebook and YouTube. And I just shared my story, and the response I received, I could not believe it because I'm sorry, wait a minute, my dog, she's afraid of storms.
It's all good.
Okay, I lost my train of thought because I started receiving calls and texts and from friends that I had, co-workers. I was in banking 18 years and then I worked for a company, Great Lakes Cheese, in the office for 10 years. And all the people that I was affiliated with, 95% of them did not know I had an ostomy. They were calling me, did you have that when you worked here? Yes, Yeah. And as recent as a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine came over. She was helping me do something, and she started asking questions, and so I showed her the Phoenix books, with the different pictures and stuff. She said, that's not what I thought it was. Most people think it's something you take off and you don't have to put it back on. You're not wearing it all day. And for people to say, but you always dress nice, you always look nice. And so that really built me up to be encouraging, to others, to say, you can have a normal life and most people won't even know about it, so that blessed me. So I was in tears, just getting all the positive feedback and how I encourage others to, that you can be successful, that you can have a career, you can have a normal life. Although I had my son beforehand, I still had a wonderful family life.
Yep. You know something, and you said a whole bunch of key things there. Like, you can have a life, you can have a normal life. People don't need to know unless you want them to know.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And
yes.
you kept it to yourself
Yes.
the entire time.
Yes.
You know, until you decided. And you're right, Jolene is amazing. She was
Yes.
on the podcast as well. And it's just, and styling and dressing up and being you know, let's talk about that, because you're good at that. Like,
yes, thank you.
put together. Every time I'm like, oh, she just always put together. Me, I'm like, here's a t-shirt and 5 days dirty hair.
Yes.
But so
thank you. I just took a lot of pride in, sometimes I look back and think, you know, even before my ostomy, I love to dress, you know, but afterwards, it's like on the outside, I just wanted to be so beautiful because I felt ugly on the internally. And I always wanted to present myself as being, you know, really dressed up and, you know, so I don't know.
something that it was something you could control. And you
You're right.
control the outside of it when you couldn't control the results of what happened from your surgery.
Yes.
Yep. So that's another tip for everybody, guys and girls. You know, dress it up, put on the makeup, feel good about yourself. Because when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do better. And mentally, it helps. It helps a lot mentally.
Yes. I don't know if you hear the thunder, but she's petrified of thunder. Yes.
I'm hearing it. A little bit in the background. The poor thing.
Yes.
The poor thing.
Yes.
But this is absolutely amazing. Is there anything else that you would want to share with our listeners?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
She's petrified. Okay. Yes, I just want to share that, you know, for me, once I started looking at my ostomy as being a lifesaver, without it, I would not be here. And then to take it to the next level, I decided to make a difference in other lives. You know, just sharing your story. And I have some that call me and cry, you know, and I may pray with them. And every day on one of my groups, I try to say an encouraging word to someone, no matter what they're going through. You just never know. And this past weekend, I had a group of ostomates, 2 from Baltimore and 3 from Michigan. And we all met on Facebook, and we had an awesome weekend in Cleveland, Ohio this past weekend.
Yeah, I saw those pictures. I was quite jealous. I was like, all right, next time I'm coming.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, we were able to share our experiences. We cried, we laughed, we prayed. And it was just so much love and joy to see somebody else going through. Although we each had different journeys, but the same thing is we all have an ostomy. My throat is scratching. Okay. But just from this past weekend, I'm getting choked up. It was a vision of mine to do that. And to see it come to pass just really blessed me. And I just want to encourage so many other people, you know, I'm here, reach out on Facebook, you know, we may not physically get together, you know, but I just want to make a difference in the lives of other ostomates. And I feel like that's my purpose in my life during this season.
And you are definitely doing that, my friend. You are definitely doing that. Showing up on Facebook, getting in the groups, you know, sharing your story, being here with us on the podcast today. You're doing that, you know, and putting it together where you can get groups of people together. Because I'll tell you, I bet there are other ostomates that were like, I want to be there too. I want to be there.
Yes.
Right. So it is. And it's getting together and it's putting those groups together where people can say, here's other people that have been on a journey like that. And no, it's not an old person's disease or affliction. It happens to everybody at every age.
Mhm.
And we are all here to support each other.
Mhm. And Geraldine, she's had her ostomies for almost 51 years, since she was 3.
Yeah.
And she has a urostomy and a colostomy. And I'm the old one of the group. But for me, it's like, these are things that I dreamed of when I was younger, so I pray I can continue to have the strength, the tenacity, the passion, to do this as long as possible. This is what I did this past weekend, is something I had dreamed of doing for years. And I just want to encourage everyone, be strong. You can be anything you want to be. When I started working at the bank, I started off like through a temp agency. And I remember going to a little conference there, and they said, "What do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be the first African-American officer at this bank." And I met that goal, And so you can set goals no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be that high, just set goals and you can achieve those goals. And if you get sad, inbox me, send me a friend request. My mom passed. I turned 60 on July 1st, 2019. She passed on July 4th of 2019. And so I went into a depression at that point. And then we had COVID. But during COVID, staying home really helped me escalate my social media contacts, because I enjoy just staying home doing that. And I wasn't getting out in society. But I feel like this is my passion during this season in my life. And I'm excited.
I am excited too. And I can't wait for your next event. Because like I said, more of us are going to be like, we're coming.
Okay.
We're showing up too.
Okay.
We can all get together and do something bigger. And
yes,
you are absolutely creating it and doing so much for the community. And I'm so, so glad that you shared your journey a year ago and decided to open that door. Because Andrew, you're changing people's lives.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, well, if there was one thing left that you would love to say, if there was just one thing that you could leave the listeners with, what would that be?
Look at your ostomy as a blessing for being here. I would say most of us, it's a lifesaver. Without it, we would not be here. And embrace it with love and understanding that without it, we would not be here. It's a lifesaver.
I love that. I love that. Well, Angie, thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.